I've been running my own architecture practice in the UK since 2009, specialising in alterations and extensions to private homes. In general, I love my job, but if there's one kind of alteration that I don't enjoy, it's the loft conversion. I can see the appeal for homeowners. The loft is sitting there doing nothing except storing the Christmas decorations and holiday luggage. Why not convert it to a habitable room, maybe even 2 rooms? I have lost count of the number of clients who call me up, excited at the possibility of getting loads of extra space for not much money. The roof has already been built, how hard can it be? It turns out loft conversions are a lot harder than you think. Let's start with height. I am taller than average, well over 6 foot, that's 1.9 meters in metric, so I am sensitive to low ceilings. Most homeowners stand in the loft, under the highest point of their roof, and think they have loads of headroom. What they don't consider is the width of that roof and the fact they will need adequate headroom across a wider area. It might surprise some people to learn that the building regulations in the UK don't set a minimum height for habitable rooms in private homes. Even without a minimum height for the ceiling in the regulations, there are practical limits of what can be used as a habitable room. The Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors set a minimum of 1.5 metres headroom when surveying a property for sale. Any space with less headroom than that won't count towards the square footage or meterage of the property. Then there is insulation. This further decreases headroom. A conventional pitched roof with rafters must be upgraded to meet the thermal requirements of the building regulations. In Scotland at present, that means meeting a U value of 0.15. If you don't know what a U value is, it measures the amount of heat that escapes per square metre per hour. Take a look at this online U value calculator from Kingspan. This isn't a paid advert. I use their products regularly and they work. This shows that to achieve the 0.15 U value, we must have at least 125 mil of insulation between the rafters and 42.5 mil insulation-backed plasterboard fixed to the inside of the rafters. That lowers the ceiling by 42.5 mil, almost 2 inches. Then there is acoustic separation. The building regulations require a minimum amount of sound deadening between rooms in a home. To help achieve this, the people who produce the Scottish building regulations also publish a generic internal constructions handbook. Helpfully, this has a number of options for achieving the required acoustic separation in the loft floor. The problem is that they all assume the existing joists are at least 175 mils deep, and in many cases, they won't be. This will lead to the floor being raised so that new, thicker timber joists can be fitted. The structural engineer may also need to increase the depth, but the overall impact of this is to reduce the floor to ceiling height even further. Then the fire regulations kick in. Contrary to what some people think, the measurement that matters isn't the number of stories, it's the height from ground to the top floor measured in metres. Let's assume you own a nice 2-storey property. In the UK, a typical home built in the last 50 years will have a floor to ceiling height of 2.4 metres. Combined with the floor thickness of 300 mil and the loft floor thickness of at least 250 mil, unfortunately, this puts your new loft conversion in the next category of fire risk, and the building regulations give us 2 choices: a protected enclosure or suppression. But what does that mean? In simple terms, a protected enclosure means that every door off the stairs must be a self-closing, fire-rated door. This includes all existing doors leading off the existing stairs, not just the new ones. If you don't like the sound of that, you can use suppression, which usually means sprinklers, and they will need to be in every room in the building, existing and new alike. In most cases, fitting fire doors is the cheaper option. Now let's assume you have an existing loft, which is very large, and the space exists to upgrade the floor and add all the necessary insulation, and still have lots of space for new bedrooms. You will need a stairs, and people make 2 basic mistakes when thinking about their new stairs. 1, that it can be placed wherever suits the layout best, and 2, that a stairs can be a small, discrete item. Wrong on both counts. The building regulations have lots to say about stairs. For starters, they set a minimum headroom of 2 metres for all points on the new stair and on the landings. If the new stairs is located at the edge of the building, under the lowest point of the roof, it can often mean that by the time you climb 2 or 3 steps up, you will have less than 2 metres minimum headroom. In most homes, the only viable place for the stairs is in the middle of the floor plan, under the highest part of the roof. The new stairs must also have a minimum width of 900 mm between the wall and the handrail. Pro tip: The most effective form of stairs is usually a switchback or dogleg layout with winders. Contrary to popular belief, a circular spiral stairs is not a very efficient layout. All this usually means the stairs will take up a large chunk from the existing bedroom. In many cases, that chunk is so large there isn't enough space left for a bedroom. So the house is now down one bedroom, but that's okay. The new loft conversion will get 2 new bedrooms, so the house will have 1 more bedroom than when we started. It's at this point the penny drops for most people. It's not worth paying £40,000 to £60,000 plus VAT to gain 1 additional bedroom. I suspect I've talked more than 90% of the people who've ever called me over the years asking for a loft conversion out of it. Even those who went ahead were less than thrilled by the amount of space they got relative to the stress, hassle and cost of the project. If you are thinking of a loft conversion, take professional advice from an experienced architect as soon as possible. My name is Neil, and I regularly make videos on the reality of altering and extending private homes. If you want to see more, hit subscribe.